You look really well, Harry.
I've got my flow back now.
Well, obviously you have, yeah. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Jackie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining me. I didn't know if you would because you're so busy at the minute. And honestly, all your posts, you're getting real momentum. And when I was going through all my Telegram channels yesterday, you were on nearly every one.
It's like a flip. The switch has been flipped last 2 weeks, and my views on TikTok, as an example, of 2.8 million in a week. So
Really?
yeah, it's almost been the last 4 years. My stuff hasn't ever got out there, and I was always I couldn't work it out, but I knew it was almost being held for a certain time. And it was soon as the White House come on the TikTok, they created an account, and ever since that day, my videos just went like that, and they all just took off because I've been posting for a long time now.
I know you have. I know. Well, I've known you now probably about 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
I would think.
it'd be. I met you when I come back from Brazil. That video that went viral when I went through the airport.
That's right.
So that would
Yes.
have been. I think I met you right at the start of 2022 at the bench.
That's right. AJ said about you coming up, and like we were all waiting for you to arrive because he really said how amazing you were and everything that you knew that was going on and everything. So you've been on it for years now, which is marvelous. And then we did a couple of events together where you were doing your breathing, soul coaching. So yeah, you've done so well, Harry.
Thank
And
you.
now to be on all these channels, you're on the American channels that I'm on as well. I mean, literally, it's real. I'm so pleased for you that but you must be looking into this all the time to get the information.
It feels like my calling is
Yeah,
because you saw me early on in the year at the quiz, and
yes,
that was a different me then. I lost everything like motivation, enthusiasm. I had a bit of a rough patch the end of last year, and yeah, I was lost, a bit lost, and I feel like a big part of that was everything I was doing. It wasn't getting recognised, and it was almost like the questions like, what am I doing with my life at the moment? So yeah, since then it's picked up.
sorry, I forgot to record. Yes, sorry.
So yeah, it's all picked up since then, and I feel it's the consistency. Just keep going, keep pushing it out there, and we're at a stage now where you can clearly see, especially in the UK, the whole focus now is on our country, and there's a shift that's taken place. Like there's people getting out in the streets, there's people paying attention. The whole focus from America is now like go and look at the UK too. So you're seeing this worldwide awakening all merging together. And all the research I've done, it's almost like the crunch time now. We're at a stage where very soon it'll just be one after the other, corruption exposing. It's just going to keep flowing like that. So all the stresses and all the frustrations that people have, that's all going to start changing, and it'll almost be that everyone that's dedicated a lot of their life to looking into information, trying to discover the truth, going through all the misinformation, etc. We're at a stage now where all of that's going to start being worth it. And I know for a fact that we all look back and be like, everything that we've been doing was for this moment.
Honestly, and it does feel like that. And you're bringing the excitement. I thought that was so funny, the Harry one that you did yesterday, I think, where Trump's saying about Harry all the time. So that's lovely that you're bringing the fun into it because as well, that's really important for us, isn't it, at this
Massively.
time? Um, what are you thinking about? Are we just getting on the bandwagon with the flags? I mean, it's important, isn't it?
I feel so. People have to go beyond labels. You have to understand that we've been lied to our entire life. And
Yes.
this operation for me has been always controlled by the good guys, and everyone has had to have the lies. And waking up is being able to, without the lies, you wouldn't know the truth. So it's almost like you've had to experience it. But every time more and more experience comes in, you just realize that's a lie, and it's hard to accept. I feel once you have your knowing and your foundation, which I've had from day one, the good guys are always in full control. The US military have been protecting the entire world. And we've had that figurehead, Donald Trump, that's been kind of leading it all. Everything for me is just got lighter. Whereas a lot of people are just seeing us getting more doom and gloom. And it's almost that every bit of corruption that we are being shown, that's amazing. It's like it's a good thing coming out. And it's only because we're all ready, we're all a lot more prepared, and there's a lot more awareness now to be able to accept it. And if you just look at the world that you step outside into now, there's so much, well, there's so much more calmness, but there's less fear compared to when I first met you, and there was this uncertainty, and there was so much confusion back then, and there was all this worry about all the vaccines and all these lockdowns, and then you'd have the fearful people saying about the quarantine camps and stuff. All that's gone out the window now. So for me, it's just a lot more clarity coming in, and it's the confirmations all the time now that they're showing us we're watching a movie.
Which is what you're saying all the time. We are watching a movie. It does seem like that, but it's our choice what we choose to watch. That's the thing, isn't it?
Mhm.
You know, look for the positive all the time, because even though you're promoting all what you can see in your timeline, it is the positive of that if people choose to see that. But if they choose to look the other way, that's up to them. We've all got free will, free choice. But it's so much about polarity at the moment, where you know, the division, everything, they think even the flags are causing division.
Not at all.
No,
No,
it's
I
surely
don't.
bringing us together, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see how that can even be looked at as a negative. And people get caught up on, or the Union Jack, it's a corporation, and you shouldn't be celebrating that. It's like, no, we're taking over. We give it the definition. We're the ones that are seeing people now actually getting out and actually paying attention, which hasn't happened. And the comments that are coming in, it's my mum and dad are fast asleep, but they're even getting their flags up. It's those moments for me. They're all big wins.
Well, exactly. You know, with your dad and mum, they're amazing, really. What you know, but they've started to listen. Well, not even started, they're well on board now, which is just incredible, isn't it? You know, can't say the same's absolutely here, but I'm not promoting it like you do. Um, it needs people like you. It absolutely does to well, I was going to say drip, 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 isn't it? To realise just how, you know, I never wanted to wake up to what's going on in the world. I literally, you know, but Magenta Pixie used to talk about the Q posts. Like way ever, I had no concept of what that meant or what it was. Way back, that had to have been when I started out in 2012 with waking up, but even then I'd not really awake for another 3 or 4 years. Because and then I had all those motivational speakers all the time, and different ones were awake and sort of trying to tell me. So it takes a time. It's not till you're ready to, and it's horrible to a lot of it, obviously, to know. But then to look at the good that's coming from it because it's been so bad, like you say, you had to see the night to see the day.
And the hardest thing for people is to think ahead because it hasn't happened yet. It's almost you have to connect the dots to imagine that. And there's a lot of people have talked about the golden ages and the new world and stuff, but that's a fairy tale for a lot of people because all they used to is what we've been shown and what we have experienced. And for me, it's so clear now. And I feel once you get over this next part where it will be it all coming out, then people will start seeing what there actually is all around us and what we're going to step into. It'll be a reality that none of us have yet to experience ever as the human race. And it's almost been held back for us all to step into. And yeah, for me, that excites me more than anything else. And we're going to find out a lot more about our history, the way it should be told to us. I feel that you'll see that there's so many people that have been fighting this for a long time, and they've mostly been looking at this whole world thinking, we're making it obvious for you to wake up. But they've been doing that. Well, I keep saying that this war's gone back 250 years.
Mm.
And there's people that have known what's going on, and that must have been difficult for these people. So we're at a stage now where I would say the majority of people, even if you don't call them awake, they're aware of what's going on. Even if they're not accepting it, they're still paying attention. And we're also at a stage where you don't have to go on Telegram and all these separate apps to find your information. It's the mainstream media now as well that is showing the same stuff to us.
Yeah. And you're pointing it out as well, that it's coming from the mainstream media that might even get more even attention than perhaps anyone else, because some are still transfixed with that. Well, watching it every day. So no, it's absolutely brilliant. So is your breathing practice, soul coaching, is that still a huge part of what you do?
Yeah, so with the soul coaching, I was doing meditations all the time, and I had a small little community, and it was just frustrating for me. It was like the whole world would change if they started meditating. But I also realized that there's so much other distractions going on, and there's more priorities for people within their own lives. So the way that I deliver the information and I do my lives as well, the soul coaching all comes from that anyway.
Yeah,
And I'm quite protective of my space, even on social media. So any negativity that comes onto my pages, I block it out. And
right.
I'll say you're being negative, you're moany, and I call people lazy. There's the three words that I would say: you're miserable, you're negative, and you're moany, because they come on to choose to moan, and it's like, if you just listened, if you then just watch, because I'm saying go and watch that. And if we go back to the video that we did together a few years ago, it was
Mm.
about Donald Trump then. If
Mhm.
people listened back then and just followed along, they would see I'm saying exactly the same thing now, but more people are listening now. So the soul coaching comes to me is the positivity. It's the bringing attention to your words. If you listen to my vocabulary, I rarely use negative words ever. To even explain a negative situation, I always put a positive word on there.
Yeah,
And people now are correcting themselves on their words as they're speaking. That's awareness. So
yeah, absolutely.
so without even the information, the only work that can really be done is from the self. And we're getting to a stage where the moans and all the negativity will stand out so much, it won't be welcome in the new world. And people are starting to distance themselves. And that's where the duality comes in. But it's because there's work to be done for a lot of people that haven't ever taken the time to just to focus on and finding peace. For me, I protect that all day. It's the most powerful feeling to have. And then it brings clarity and then it brings connection.
Absolutely. So how did you get on that journey, Harry?
On what the truth journey.
To where you are now, like, how did you, because you're so young to be sharing this, which is even better as well, to have younger people that can share this wisdom. It is wisdom, really, or I feel it is anyway. But like about the meditation, because I've known for years, there was three things when I did the happiness course. There was forgiveness was one big thing for it. The thing to be happy or something was forgiveness, self-love, and meditation. And the meditation was always a big thing for me, because to quiet the mind is not easy.
I had
Ho'oponopono helps on that.
that, and you need just simple frameworks as well to go, and that's all it is. It is making things simple. So my whole teachings come back to a choice. Simplify life down to a choice, and I can bring it literally to ego or soul. And underneath ego or soul, it's love or fear. From
Mm.
words, it's positive or negative. And then from the inner body, it's grow or protect. So literally every single thing in life can fall over under those components. But I owned a few gyms in London for about 12 years, and I wasn't aware of anything. I was fast asleep. I wasn't paying attention. I'd forget everything. And my world growing up was football. Like my mates, all lads, always down the pub. We'd always go out every weekend. We'd go out nightclubs or raving, and I worked super hard, but I partied really hard as well. And there was a point where I had a breakdown when I was on a school reunion. It was a wedding in Cyprus, and out of nowhere, I just had this panic attack. I had my staff to pay, and I wasn't really focused on work then. It was all inclusive hotel, and I got super drunk, and I remember having this panic attack. And I come back, and my mum said, "Oh, maybe you should go on a mindfulness course." And that was the first kind of introduction to meditation. And I remember this hippie guy. I remember his name. He's called Doug. He had long hair. He had all these things around his neck, and he was holding a prune. And he come into the room, and it was like a alcohol anonymous, where they're all sitting around. He said, "Hold the prune, smell the prune, be present with the prune." And I'm like, it's a fucking prune. And we did a meditation at the end, and I remember shooting up. I was like, "Oh my God, I felt this thing on my foot." And he said, "No, that was me. You were snoring." And all I got from that course, because I realized how anxious I was, but I realized I wasn't present. And I'd go on all these different courses and seminars, and I didn't really retain the information very well. So that was kind of the intro. And then I got myself arrested 3 times in the space of 18 months. And the last time was 40 hours. I was stuck in a cell in Tenerife, and I couldn't tell you how I got in there. And it was closed on Sunday, so I had the whole 24 hours in there trying to question, what have I done? And I had this massive voice. It was my voice. Now I say that was God's voice saying, "What are you doing with your life right now? You've got no control of it." So I stopped drinking after that, and I haven't had a drink ever since. That was like 2018. And I just went on a journey of, first of all, listening to Audible books. I had a few, like the first one was The Unexpected Joys of Being Sober. Then it was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Then it was How to Be Fucking Awesome. And then it started going into business stuff. And then I found the likes of Wayne Dyer, Ram Dass.
Yes.
And I say to this day, Wayne Dyer was like my soul coach, because I was,
Yeah.
after a big long session on a night out, and it was early hours in the morning, laying in my bed, going, "I've done it again." I had Wayne Dyer just playing, talking to me. And yeah, it just started evolving. And I've got like 5 books on the go all the time. And I've dived into the Dhammapada, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and I started moving on to the scriptures and stuff. But it all come back to just simple. They were all talking the same message in all their own unique ways. And I realized how overcomplicated we all make our life. It was
Mm.
Deepak Chopra, though, that changed it for me. Because
Really?
yeah, it was, he did a meditation 21 days with Oprah. And he said just one analogy. He said, when you're walking down the road and you get a stone in your shoe, he said, there's no thought to it. You just pick the stone out and you throw it away. And he said, that's the same with anxious thoughts, but we don't know how to deal with the anxious thoughts. Really, you should just go like that and throw it away. But he said, you leave it in there and then it builds up. And like the stone in your shoe, you'd walk funny. In the end, you get blisters, then you'd get a bad knee, lower back, and it's a whole chain of events that take place after.
Yeah.
And it was that aha moment. I can get rid of this anxious thought. And yeah, I then dived into meditation. I did the Deepak Chopra. I went to Hawaii to do his event. Then I did his primordial sound meditation. It was like a 5 month course that I did. And it just evolved from there. And then when 2020 hit, I had a lot more time. My gyms suffered big time. So we were locked down for 9 months of the year. But I was just paying attention. But it was a moment when I saw that the military were in control and Trump was one of the good guys. And it changed everything after that. It was almost like, I know we've won already. I know we're in full control. And then 2020 was the year where I really had these strong connections with God. Whereas before I'd say universe, creator, but I didn't have the experience and feel it. But I was having all these magical moments, and I was then teaching meditations to other people, and it would be one-on-one like this. And after the meditation, I'd just sit there, and the person would be in silence for about 12 minutes, and I'd just hold the space for them, and it was like this superpower. And for me, it was that knowing then everyone has to do this. And you see all the videos that I've done over my life through the fitness career that I had, 2020, my smile. but I used to cover my smile. I had braces, I had a jaw operation, and in 2020, this smile come, and it was like a permanent shift in my face. And yeah, it's just flowed ever since.
Amazing. I remember one story that you told when we were at a breathing evening and you had all those t-shirts there and it said on the t-shirt, what would love do? And you told about where there was road rage and you got out your t-shirt on and shirt and went like,
Yeah, he started kicking off.
what would love do? And that is such a good thing, isn't it? To ask yourself, what would love do in every situation?
It covers everything.
Yeah.
And I call them soul slaps now as well. So whenever you get caught with your ego, you get a little soul slap and it jolts you. And it's what would love do? Oh, let it go. And it's that simple.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so pleased that you're feeling so much, like, and you're in your element. So when I was talking to a girl earlier this morning, she's going to do an evening for me. And she said, what are you doing the rest of the day, Jackie? I said, I'm hoping that Harry's going to come back and say he's going to do a talk with me. And she sort of said, what does he do? And she said, well, you've lit up just saying about that. Like I was, some things light us up, don't they? Like if you're on the right track,
Well, I've been writing. So what happened was during COVID, and like for many people, all my accounts got taken down.
Yeah.
And earlier on, at the end of last year, I got sectioned in Brazil for 6 weeks. And when I come back, I was lost. It was like I got sectioned because I did far too much cannabis. I had a whole pack of gummies, and I decided to do them all, and they wouldn't let me out. And I had these moments with God, and it was like everything was AI world, and I wasn't sleeping or anything, and I had big turns. So when I come out, I was a bit lost, but I had nothing really to show for myself apart from Trump. And it was almost like, I don't want to be known as Trump. It's my soul coaching. That's the part. So I started writing, and I've got my Substack where people, if they want to know me, and they'll see depth, they'll see my teachings. It's all mine. It's all authentic. But I got a really powerful confirmation the other day. So I did a writing on a Gospels of Ramakrishna. So out the most random book, but there were some amazing teachings within there. He was from the 1800s. And one of the teachings was about five blind men all feeling different parts of the elephant to describe what the elephant is. And they all gave their all different descriptions. So I put that on my Substack. 11 hours later, John McAfee, his Twitter account, his official Twitter account, there was a video of John McAfee that come on that talked about that same teaching. And I'm like, he's been the person that I've been following for a long time. And I've said many times before, I've connected with a lot of things. He's definitely alive. But that was my confirmation the other day. He's meant to be dead. And his official Twitter account put a video on of that exact teaching. That's not a coincidence at all. So I kind of got a bit more, yeah, a bit more excited then. It's like things are starting to happen. And if you've been following my stuff, Donald Trump puts out these posts and I've been decoding them. And I'll do a decode of the Q post for one day based on his posts. And then the next post he does takes us exactly to what I was talking about. And it's almost like saying now you're on the right path, you're talking about the right things, and they're getting a confirmation now where the videos are actually being circulated everywhere.
Yes. Truth chills, Harry. Literally. What was I going to say? Something you just said went through my mind. Oh, I have to come back to it. Bother. Oh, the authenticity of you saying about being sectioned. You're not hiding that. And the reason, but there's such a build up to that story of why you were sectioned. And you don't have to share that, I know. But you would not have been taking cannabis like that had you not had things going on.
Yeah, so I was in Arizona for 10 months and people tried to take my life in Arizona.
Yes.
I kind of was part of all this community, all these people in politics. And when I was out there, there was this massive court case and they dropped these massive bombs where all these people in Arizona, they showed it as the most corrupt state in the whole of Arizona. and they were all involved with the Sonola cartel and involved with mortgage fraud. And it was all the people that I was with. And then I was just going around, I'm here, I'm exposing human trafficking, and I'm exposing the truth. And I got set up big time. And there was this period where I went missing. I don't think if you remember, but my mum and dad would never tell anyone where I was, but I went off to Brazil. And I come back and I didn't feel safe because someone turned up at my place in the middle of nowhere in Brazil. My Uber account, someone had my password, and yeah, so I was on this journey where I felt like people were after me, and there was this fear always in the background. And I went through about 2 years where I was on my own trying to connect the dots to my life, and I was getting a lot of different things wrong. I was just putting everyone under one bracket in the end, and there's a lot of corrupt people within the truth movement that I've kind of crossed paths with as well. And I got to a stage where I was having all these God moments, and I started moving into scripture, and I decided, and I said to my community and my Rumble, I'm going to do 40 days and 40 nights. And I didn't really know what that meant. And it was like that confirmation that I said I was doing it, and I was getting all these voices then. And one of the voices came from it sounded like Ram Dass was talking to me. And Ram Dass did a video, which you'll find on YouTube, where he had all this LSD in his pocket when he was in India. And his guru knew that he had something in his pocket. He said, take your biscuits out your pocket. And Ram Dass said, my biscuits, he said, I know you've got them in there, take your biscuits out. And he grabbed them all, and he had all of them. And Ram Dass said that would have taken out a horse, and it didn't do anything to him at all. Well, I just taught that on my course, and that voice was, do them all, do your gummies, do them all. And I did them all, and I left my body. I turned into a rainbow. I kind of reenacted the birth of Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, and it was like every part of my life come out, and I was talking to myself in the mirror. And yeah, it was if you saw me, I was going crazy, but for me it was also real. I connected the girl that I fell in love with during 2020. She passed away when I was out in Colombia. And during this 40 days, 40 nights, and whatever happened, she was then reconnected with me. And it was like she was controlling my whole left side. And as much as it all felt crazy, that was the realest part I've had in my whole life. And that's why I felt lost when I come back, because I couldn't forget it, because every single moment that happened to me was real for me. And if you've ever been sectioned and the doctor tries to ask you, well, what happened? You can't tell them the truth, because you're crazy as soon as you say it all. And I said I had these connections with God, but that's all I could say. And it was only when I come back to the UK where, when I went to the hospital, the guy said, tell me about your life. And I just started sharing my story. And I said to him, you're the first person that's ever asked me about me, rather than trying to give me tablets and stuff. And it was that moment I got dropped back here. And it was like I felt myself come back. I didn't want to take any of the medications. I stopped all that, but I'd lost my flow. And my meditations, I get all my insights. That all stopped. Yeah, that was the lost part. I think when you saw me, I looked sad. My energy
You looked
was sad.
sad, so sad. I come over and sat with you, didn't I?
But yeah, that's all changed now as well. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was a tough part. I share that story though, because I know there's a lot of people that were sectioned just for their beliefs on COVID. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I saw the whole system within there. It was like I had to go through that experience to see it all.
Yeah.
And I feel like it also shows you, when you are dedicating your life to truth, which I say I have been, sometimes you can go too far into it. And if you haven't got the guidance or the support around you, which I didn't have, you can get lost within that also.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big turning point at the end of last year. I had to be flown back. And yeah, this year I've kind of fallen back into path. I found my purpose, and I know I'm doing the right things now.
Brilliant. I am honestly so pleased for you, and enjoying seeing that all your clips are being shared. And honestly, it's really, and what you're doing to help humanity, really, because it is the positivity. I don't get, and not not to be fearful of what you put out in that. Like you say, if you see any trolls on your, you know, even with stuff that I put out, and that's very, very mild, you know, if you get anyone, it's horrible when they're not nice about that. We're all entitled to what we want to share and believe.
I feel it's different. So for me, I like being challenged and I like questions. If it's the moaning and the personal digs and stuff, my Facebook got taken down. So everyone on my Facebook, they've added me and they're following me. So it's almost like you've added me to come onto my page to moan at me, block. And if you're choosing to moan, I just cut you off all the time. And the frustrating thing for me, Jackie, is that there's a lot of people that I know that have known me personally or have been following my stuff, but they obviously don't listen and they continue to moan. And as I said earlier, just go and watch, like just trust me for once. Go and watch. There's one documentary, that's your foundation. I say the same thing every time. Just go watch that one. But they don't watch it and they come back and then argue again and then argue again. It's like you're choosing to do that. That's your choice to be miserable. Keep it away from me. If that was my house or even in our community, that wouldn't be accepted. I wouldn't be talking to you. You wouldn't be allowed to enter my space. And I feel people are all going through their awakening, but I'm not the right teacher for you if you're ignoring everything that's being said. And beyond that, if you just turn me on silent, put me on mute, and just put the video like this, all you see is that all the way through, depending on
Yes.
whatever topic. And it's like you're choosing to be miserable, and someone's saying, just there, just go there, and I can't do anything else after that as well. So yeah, for me, I don't even allow it on my page. And even on all the comments, if they're negative, moaning, miserable ones, I even delete them and block them now. I choose to keep that space. And I feel people are seeing it's repeated words, it's automated phrases, and everyone that moans, they haven't done the research. They just hold on to a story that someone else has said as well. And you can see the phrases that people say are identical over the last 4 years. Like one example, the Brits, I call them the grumpy, moody UK truthers. They're so miserable. And I get it because UK has had corruption for years.
Oh
But
yeah.
and the people that are awake for a long time, they've been frustrated because they've been screaming for years, no one's listened, but they haven't changed. If they and they Anyone that can't see Trump is a good guy is stuck. They're lost, they're attached, because that's the most obvious part. And they'll say phrases like "cutard," but just things like that. For me, they haven't done the research, they haven't looked at all, and you can't help people like that. And the thing is, content is content now. The internet's brilliant. You can go back anytime. You can only connect the dots to your life going backwards. So the information's there. At some point, people will be ready for it, and they go, "Oh, Harry did say that," and I've stand on my truth always, and it's always been the same message all the way through. All the characters that people say they're evil, they're bad, I've pretty much said the opposite to a lot of people, like Tom Hanks, Oprah, Ellen. For me, they're all good people, and it challenges people because they saw information in 2020. But then you're getting people like Trump, Nigel Farage, and they say, "Oh, they're evil too." And I'm like, you're now getting to a phase where it's going to be lies, truth, and it's that choice that people are going to get stuck on a lot of topics because of their attachment to certain labels.
It's interesting, really, yeah, about Farage, because that was the one I would have gone for if I was going to vote. Um, I would have thought he would be the only one. I don't want to cause any division. What I wanted to say is that's complete self-love, what you're doing there. You've got boundaries.
It's a
I
massive.
did a talk. I did a talk earlier this year with Tim Wilde because boundaries, you know, my boundaries have been very blurred for myself. Yeah. And so you've got your boundaries there now, which is so good. And that is self-love, Harry.
And that's what they say. Oh, you're all love and light, and you're rude. It's like, no, I'm protecting my energy. That is what love is. Love has to go into the ego to protect. If you've got kids and someone tries it with your kids, you put on your protective. You protect your kids. You have to change your voice and your tone and stuff. But there's a limit of protection and then anger. You've lost control there, and that's a different side. You've never seen me in the whole well, my whole life, if all the videos I've ever done, you'll never see me angry, ever. So it's almost like anger is a choice as well. And if you get into anger, it's not in my life. I don't want it.
Do you never get triggered?
I get triggered, yeah, but I don't let it out. My ego goes off all the time, and sometimes I'm even typing and have to delete it. Sometimes I put a post out, but the one thing that I'm so particular with my words, I don't call people names. I've got the phrase, "You're lazy and you're negative." You're being negative to me. I'm saying, go look at that information. You don't look at that information. Now you're lazy because you're not doing it. And I've said that all the way through. So that triggers people when you get called lazy because you're not, I'm not lazy, but you are lazy because of the negativity. For me, it comes as a two. So
Yes,
yeah, I get triggered. I get frustrated because it's if people understood where we were in this awakening and they don't understand. I don't think any of us do. The world is going to shift in ways that we cannot even imagine. And
exactly.
that like at the moment you're seeing this rallying now and people getting up, but that's not even scratching the surface of what's going to come. You'll be respecting everyone. Everyone's going to be like getting together again. And you've seen since COVID, even with the communities and the stand in the parks and even at the bench, it's separated. People are now getting on with their own lives and stuff now. Watch the communities come back when we realize what we've all gone through, what we've all had to put up with, and what we all got wrong. Like the big part of this is change, and you have to be humble enough to say that I was wrong on certain parts. Some people can't let go of that bit. And I feel it's the people that have done research on a certain topic, or like the topic of abortion, as an example, or racism. People have had their own personal experiences in that one thing. So as soon as that topic gets mentioned, their triggers go up. But for me, that's the teaching. The triggers are teachings,
Yes,
and the truth will be within that.
the triggers are showing us our shadow side, do you think?
Yeah, massively. Because
Yeah,
if we love as a feeling is peace, calmness, joy, say happiness, but it starts at stillness. So if I'm still and then something comes across my screen and I get triggered, straight away I now say, what's triggered me? Why has my ego gone off? And I deal with it on that day. But people
brilliant.
are not even aware of that uncomfort. If it's uncomfortable in the body, there's something you have to work on or something bring awareness to. It's that simple.
I love that. Honestly, you can look back now and you can see why everything's happened in your life to get you to the point now. We can all do that. And it's whether you look back at it and think, why has that happened to me? Or why has it happened for me? Which I know we've all heard that saying before, but it is, why has it happened for me? Because everything is for you. Like every step of my life, you can see what led me to this point, and it's what you do with it then, isn't it? And I read a post yesterday about what timeline are you going to be on? Do you want to, look at the joyful, happy parts of the life, or, be more positive about everything that's happening? Or do you want to stay in this fear-based? And it is a choice, isn't it? Because I know what one I want to choose.
If everyone actually experience, that's why I keep coming back to meditation. And if you let go of that label, if they just come and experience one session, even a breathwork session or something where it's that calmness. The problem with calmness and stillness is empty, is nothing. So straight away we go into silence and our mind goes, oh, I need to do something. But it's that part there. And when it clicks, it clicks. And people will feel it at some point and they're going to realize, oh, I should have listened or I should have let go. But like you said, we're all on our own journeys right now. It takes one thing said in a certain way or presented in a unique perspective for it to click for one other person. And what I know now is that even the mainstream media, if you're stuck in the mainstream media, you're in a good place. They're guiding you on the journey, and you can't now repeat what they're saying because it's absolute nonsense. So people are breaking up and seeing all the lies and what we're experiencing, what's being said. They're working it out. It's just hard to come to terms with. The other thing that I'd say to people, because this is one thing that I didn't really take into perspective, there's a lot of secrets in people's lives that we don't know. We say they're a good person and stuff. When I've been digging into the NSA, they search your search terms. What people have searched just on Google their whole life. And I saw a case mentioned to me by my sister in Australia, where a woman killed her ex-husband's family. She invited them all round for dinner, and she killed them with poisonous mushrooms.
I heard about that. Yeah.
But you can imagine the search terms that she must have gone in, how to kill someone, or how that's all being tracked. And
Yeah.
I feel that people know that they've done wrong, or people have got a past. But if you're here now, the way is God, is peace and calm. But you have to stand on your truth, because at some point, questions are going to be fired at you as well. And it's how you react to it. God can't be explained in words, it's energy. The new world for me, the entry point is love. You can't come in if you're in fear, if you're angry and stuff as well. But your past is your past. For me, I say your past does not define you. It just adds to your story. But some people haven't even got their story out. Some people are ashamed of it so much. And I feel like there's a worry that that's going to come out. So for me, it's just how do people be able to express themselves? Write it down if you have to. It has to come out the body some way, but we have to face, I guess you call it, you face your fears. You have to face it in some way, but it has to come out the body. You have to be able to express it in a way that if someone did come up to you and ask you, you have a story to tell. So yeah, for me, everyone that's here is here for a reason. And if you were a criminal, if you had done wrong, you'd be dealt with straight away. You'd have someone knock at your door and take you away, because the good guys are in that much control. And I feel with all the information that's about to come out on radical Islamic terrorism, and then after that, I see that we're going to find out a lot more about the Catholic Church, LDS, Mormon, all, all the horrible sides when it comes to religion. Whatever you've done in your own life, you're going to realize it's nothing. It's nothing compared to what evil actually is in this world, and people will let it go that way as well. I just feel like people are holding on and they don't know how to deal with it.
You know, that's just reminded me of a little clip. You know, they show those little clips on Facebook. And earlier I watched a clip of a man going up an escalator, and he held across a bouquet of flowers to a young lad coming down the escalator. And when he got to the bottom, and he had his friends with him, and got to the bottom, like he couldn't believe he'd been given a bouquet of flowers, took out the note, and it said, for all the tears that you need to shed, something like that. And he just burst into tears that you haven't been able to shed. And he burst into tears, and all these three friends that were with him cuddled. I mean, it was just lovely, because we've probably, these, you're very much for men's groups as well. You know, men do need to be able to speak, don't they? And don't know how to a lot of the time.
And not even just that, is they don't have someone that actually listens.
Yes.
That's the thing that I've realized, and this is where I'm such a good soul coach. I don't talk. You talk, you say it, or I don't even make a face expression. And even in the silence, we've got a community on Sundays. There's 7 of us. And when they share their story, we'll have these silences. It'll be 2 or 3 minutes. But I call it, you listen like a stone with ears. You don't say anything, no face expressions. And in that silence, you're aware and you're noticing it all. And what happens is the person that's speaking their story, you give them the silence, and then something else comes out after. It's magic. But they needed that silence and the safe space. And silence for me is so much more powerful when it is exchanged with someone. And everyone in a group just knows magic comes within the silence now. It's like you enjoy it rather than it being uncomfortable, which I used to say, awkward silences. And I used to really get uncomfortable in there and say something stupid. Now I love the silence. There's a book called Time to Think, Nancy Klein, and she talks about the power of listening as well. But I feel that that's what I realized after coming out of the institution, mental institution. People don't people are not able to express themselves because everyone that's listening seems to then become the expert or judge or interrupt or give an opinion. Or if someone has cancer, as an example, everyone tells you what you need to do, what
Yeah.
diet to have, what herbs to have.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need to be able to express themselves. And I feel that that's going to be a big part of my role after all this information is going to help people just be able to heal. And
Yeah.
healing starts by getting your story out.
Oh, I love that, Harry. I love that there's 7 of you that get together and do that for each other. It brought back a memory of one of my first ever, my lovely, lovely friend Jessica. She passed away 2 years ago. And she did an evening for us and asked us to pair up and look at each other in the eyes for 4 minutes without speaking. So initially your stomach goes over and you're thinking, how can I possibly do that? And by the end of the 4 minutes, there's complete love. I don't know if everyone experienced that, but I did. I mean, it was just but the thought of it, even probably saying that, anyone listening to this, the thought of looking into someone's eyes that you probably don't know, because we had to pair up different, we didn't know, and then look at them, just look at them, and how much you can see in that 4 minutes with saying nothing.
Well, most people don't even look at themselves over the course of a year in the mirror for four
No,
minutes. Most people
no,
don't look at themselves naked ever, don't
no,
look at photos or anything. But
no.
that, what you just said then about that experience looking in the eyes, that Deepak Chopra course that I went on, the most powerful day that I had was there was 450 people on this from 27 different countries. And we had to do for lunch on one of the days, it had to be a silent lunch. So you weren't allowed to talk to anyone, but you're present with your food. But when we come back, they didn't tell us what we were going to do. And they got us in twos. And this line went so far back. And we walked round the hall and we filled around the whole hall. And he said, right, your partner, we're going to be face to face. You got one hand like that, one hand like that. And all you're going to do is look at each other in the eyes. And Krishna Das's music is playing. But when we ring the bell, bing, you move left, they move right. So you're looking at another person in the eyes. So we looked at 250 people or whatever, 225 people in the eyes. All you see is the soul. And what that experience with different people, you saw people that were suffering, you saw someone that you recognized, someone was giving you guidance, you were giving their guide, and your role as this soul with all these strangers. And after that, this whole course has come together. I'm feeling the energy of that part now. It was magic. But eye contact, that's another big thing. We don't look at each other in the eyes. We don't hold the space because we get uncomfortable. So yeah, there's a lot of changes for us to do, and it starts with the simple things. It's interaction with people, it's connection, and you feel, yeah. For me, if you're sad and someone looks at the eyes, they feel it, but that changes after. It's like I understand, and they can feel it back.
Amazing. I love that. That was also like a Robert Holding course that we did, the first one I ever went on, or I think it might have been Loving Self. Anyway, but at the end, he said that we all stood up and said, I am here to be seen. So you would pair up and you'd say to the person opposite you, I am here to be seen, which is a big thing for people to even say. And then the person looking at you would say, and I can see you, Jackie, or I see you, Jackie. And then you give it time just to acknowledge that. And then they would change and say, I am here to be seen. And I see you, Robert. Well, when Robert and I paired up, oh my God, the tears were pouring down my, but as you did it with different people, I mean, the initial thought again was, oh my God, how can I do that? But actually, it's just the best thing. It was just beautiful because we don't look at each other and acknowledge the love that's there.
We look at what they're wearing, we look at their haircuts, we judge people before, and that was one of my blessings when I went to Brazil and Colombia for over a 2 year period. I didn't speak Portuguese or Spanish very well, just basic. But what I did see was soulful people and the smiles and the joy, and I saw the negative people. Where did my choice go? I'm spending there, I don't want to be with you. I didn't need to hear your words. On the beach, you don't wear fancy clothes, so you don't judge each other on any of that. I don't understand accents. So you've got a dodgy accent, or you're from that area. Like all these things in the UK that we do without thinking about it. It's all been conditioned.
Yeah.
That all goes out the way, and I do feel like the world's going to come together when we see what we've all gone through. All these things will be irrelevant, but it also be important because that is a big part of your personality. It's a big part of your story, and people have to, it's the authenticity for
Yeah,
me.
it's
If you're being yourself, which I can see quite clearly now when people are lying or over exaggerating or trying too hard, like that's where there's a disconnect. But when people are being their self and they're rocking their own style, but it's them, it's like they love and breathe it, they're passionate, they're enthusiastic, I can then accept them for them.
Mhm.
But I don't have to be best friends with them, but I accept you and I respect you. Other people, I can feel that it's the fakery in this world now is so clear to see as well, and it's a world that I've moved away from, being from the city. I just choose not to go there anymore. For me, it's soul, it's contact. Yeah, it's all the things that I would never talk about years ago. None of this stuff.
That's what I said to you about the authenticity of you sharing that you were actually put, incarcerated last year. Well, is that what you would call it? When you went in for 6 weeks.
It was,
That must have been horrendous.
yeah, it
And
was,
actually, what you can share to people from that experience. Can you see why you had to do that now,
yeah,
I guess?
yeah. Well, at the time, I thought, I thought I was still having my Jesus moment as well. I was Jesus's brother come back, and I was meant to help people. Like one flew over the cuckoo nest. The mental institutions in Brazil are not like the UK. There's no internet. There's no I didn't have the English conversations with anyone, so I was on my own, and I spent that whole they wouldn't let me out on my own, so I had to somehow get back to the UK. But I'd lost my passport, I lost my wallet, I lost everything. My mum and dad were my heroes getting me back, and you can imagine what they were going through. So I'm laying in my bed pretty much all day, and it was all these different scenarios, and the one big teaching I got from that was the phrase "what if." And as soon as what if comes, you cut it out. Don't even go what if. It didn't happen. Don't go what if. But what if you got arrested instead? Or what? Cut it out. And yeah, so I spent 6 weeks pretty much in the bed all day. The only time I got out of bed, and it was like clockwork when food was coming. Because I just felt so down that I did this to myself. And literally, what people don't understand is 3 days before it happened, I was walking on Copacabana Beach and I said out loud to myself, looking at the sun, this is the best version of me now. And I said, I wish my mum and dad could see me right now. And then 3 days later, I'm in this mental institution and I'm just questioning, like, how? Like, why? And then I was just beating myself up for ages, my ego going off all the time. So yeah, I got a lot of lessons from there. It was so backwards in there when people were getting better, like they'd give them more medicine and they're just dribbling and stuff. I refused the medicine when I was in there using common law. The doctors were liars all the time. So I just saw this and it was, unless you're in there, you don't get that experience. But what I do know now, I can relate with a lot of people and I call myself relatable, but I'm also able to relate. And that's where I feel that sometimes like people have done drugs their whole life. When someone else has changed and they speak about a come down as an example, they're like, I know there's a connection. Whereas a lot of people are anti-drugs, they don't go there and they almost give you a look, but they don't understand. And I feel that that's the yeah, is do I regret it? Yes, because I was in my element at that point. But I look back now, that's gonna for me it was like that was meant to happen. Especially when it all was like the period Donald Trump had just won the election, which I had been speaking about for such a long time, and there was that 3 month changeover before he become president. And I was just thinking that that was my time to have my 3 months to myself. And it's almost like God intervened and said, Harry, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to stick you in here for a bit. And but for me, you write your story, and that'd just be a big chapter of my story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not many could have that in their story. My gosh. But then the truth of you actually being able to share that with people, because some would be shamed and not want to share that. No, I love
You
it,
you've met
honestly.
you've met my mum and dad as well. Like my mum and dad are the best people ever.
Oh,
Tell my
wonderful.
mum to tell my mum that I did cannabis, like that was like my son, like I wouldn't so that's been getting used to being able to be a lot more open and free. But for me, the reason why I am so calm and I am disconnected spiritually and stuff is only because I've owned my past.
Yeah,
I get a lot of trolls, I get quite a lot of vicious comments and stuff. But one thing I know, no one can pull anything out about my past and throw it out there all of a sudden. No one can do that because if whatever they say, yeah, I spoke about that. Yeah, I did that. That was part of my story, and I feel
Absolutely.
that that was a big healing part for me. Was just going back through my life and owning it, taking ownership of it.
So the very first time that I met you, that was when you had gone viral, as you say, because you knew your rights in common law, where they wanted to put you into. Do you remember when the hotels, they wanted you to pay for hotels? Because if you'd been in another country and you knew your rights and you stuck to them, and then that video went live, oh, it's marvelous. I mean, that's got to be a good thing to know your common law rights.
Definitely, and I feel that that's where it got people's attention because when you teach common law normally, and all the common law courses you go on, all they do is moan about the government and look what they're doing here and how corrupt it is there. And I use my mum again. She went on the common law course after, and it ruined.
With her.
Yeah, it ruined her. Like she didn't realize how evil the world was and how disgusting that things were. Whereas I look at it is the legal system, the words are so clever. Like, how have they managed to do that? So when I come back, it was more of a positive spin. I'm in a prison for a cell for 5 hours and I'm meditating in there. It was just completely, and I just feel it was. I knew my rights. I didn't argue with it. I remained calm, and then I shared it after, and people all of a sudden saw a different way of doing common law or using common law, and it worked.
Amazing. Amazing. Harry, I've loved speaking to you. I don't like to go over an hour really because it's enough for people to listen to, but we'll no doubt talk again.
All I'd encourage people, if you are following me, or you will see my videos now because they are circulating everywhere. Your attachments to Tommy Robinson, as an example, or Zionism or Freemason, you have to let it go. If you take the attachments and just kind of look at what's happening, and if you can't see that good people are fighting for us, you haven't looked. So all I ask, there's one documentary, The Great Awakening, the Bonfire Guy on YouTube. That's the foundation. It's an hour and a half, but it shows you when Trump went around the whole world, where we're all fast asleep. But as soon as you see that, I always say to it, watch it. One question: when did we lose control? And you can never answer that question. We've always been in control after you've watched that. That's where I say to people, because the UK are so caught up on Trump this and they're evil, and it's like we're in full control. Just watch that. So that's my only ask of people. If you trust in the messenger, everything I put out is always done with love, first of all. I always research it, but I always put it out for people to then make their own views up it. But you have to go and look, you have to go and search. And for me, it's only going to get better. This year is flown, it's flown by, and I've been in flow a lot as the months have gone on. And it's only because more and more is happening and more is being shown to us. But you have to make that first conscious effort. For me, listen, go and look, and I promise you it changes everything. And I encourage people on the 13th of London, where a lot of people say don't go, come. Like if you went to the COVID ones, they were all very good just in COVID. And if you just use common sense, there was fear everywhere during COVID. There's not fear everywhere anymore, so it's only going to be good. It's controlled by the good guys. Tommy Robinson, you might not even have to see. Don't even worry about it. It's a freedom rally, but it's not about any individual. It's about what we're going for. And I really encourage people, if you look at this as the Great Awakening, and this is a critical moment in history, when you
Yes.
look back at the World War and you was in it, that'll be a moment where you'll remember. And I'll
Yes.
give just an example. In Canada, they say their most favourite moment of the last 4 years was the trucker rally.
Yes.
And they said, oh, we need another one like that. This will be the same in London. It was in Australia the other day as well. So if you are unsure because someone's told you don't go, or there's a lot of light workers go, oh, I've been channeling, and they say don't go, the energy, they're not tuned into truth. It's honestly, it's going to be amazing. Come to the soul coach is saying, he's going, stay in our segment because I'm not having negativity around me, and I'm going with mum and dad.
No, you are. They told me they were so happy about going with you. I'm in Glastonbury that day and it's been booked up for ages, but we'll be with you in spirit. That's a fact. Honestly, thank you, Harry.
You're very welcome.
Really love speaking to you, and I'll see you soon, no doubt.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Great to catch up, and thank you, everyone watching.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of love.
See ya.
Bye.